Good afternoon everyone. Good afternoon ma'am. I am Novi Misilia Rocco, a third-year criminology student of Ingol City Colleges. Since the oral recitation has been postponed, we are tasked to create a video presentation about the 5 chosen topics by yours truly. So let's proceed to the highlight of today's video. Number 1 question. What is Stockholm Syndrome? Stockholm Syndrome describes a situation wherein a victim of a hostage-taking incident forms a paradoxical emotional bond with their captor. It is a mental symptoms experienced by the hostages or hostage in which they develop positive or sympathetic feelings towards the culprit. In addition, people who often feel helpless in other stressful life situations or are willing to do anything in order to survive seems to be more susceptible to developing Stockholm syndromes if they are held hostage or currently facing life crisis. Best example of Stockholm Syndrome can be witnessed in the Korean series entitled Snowdrop, in which the female lead has the opportunity to save herself and get out of the hostage-taking situation. However, she refused to leave the area after realizing that once she leaves, the hostage-takers' lives may be put in jeopardy. Instead of thinking how to take revenge, she keeps his emotion or fear aside just to lighten up the situation that criminals are experiencing, especially after finding out how the hostage-takers tangled up in committing such criminal act. Number 2 question. What is terrorism? Terrorism is an intentional form of violence that involves targeted attacks which are designed to intentionally scare, intimidate, to terrorize for a political purpose. Attacks are usually directed at immediate targets such as people, events, or institution, and a wider audience whom protagonists aim to intimidate, shock, or threaten. By doing so, terror groups intend to arouse support for their political discourse while undermining rival, usually dominant ideologies as part of an overarching strategies to win concession or defeat the declared enemy. This form of political violence can be relatively inexpensive and undertaken by small numbers of activists. Hence, acts of terrorism are considered to be a form of asymmetrical warfare committed by marginalized groups who often resort to such tactics because they lack more conventional political resources and avenues for engagement. Number 3 question. What causes crisis to occur? There are a lot of causes that crisis may occur, such as first, systematic failures or failure due to a flaws in a system. Second, unforeseen or unpredictable human behavior or phenomenon. Third, incentives to take too much risk. 4. Regulatory absence or failures. 5th, contagious that spread issues like virus from one country to the next, like COVID-19 pandemic. 5th, natural crisis, natural phenomenon or caused by human activities. Lastly, internal disputes, ineffective communication, and lack of coordination. Number 4 question. Give 3 examples of a crisis or emergency. First is the hijacking and hostage taking. Example is the Manila hostage crisis, officially known as the Rizal Park hostage taking incident. It took place when a disgruntled former Philippine National Police officer named Rolando Mendoza hijacked a tourist bus in Rizal Park, Manila, Philippines on August 23, 2010. The bus carried 25 people, 20 tourists, a tour guide from Hong Kong, and 4 local Filipinos. Mendoza claimed that he had been unfairly dismissed from his job and demanded a fair hearing to defend himself. Next example of crisis is the volcanic eruption. Last time, Taal volcano erupted in early January 2020, affecting more than 736,000 people in Calabarzon Region 4A, Central Luzon Region 3, and National Capital Region NCR, and leading to an evacuation of more than 135,000 people, damage to infrastructure and livelihoods, and disruption of essential services such as water supply and education. Number 3 example is the COVID-19 pandemic, which has led to a dramatic loss of human life worldwide and presents an unprecedented challenge to public health. food system, and the world of work. The economic and social disruption caused by the pandemic is devastating. Tens of millions of people are at risk of falling into extreme poverty, while the number of undernourished people, currently estimated at nearly 690 million, could increase by up to 132 million by the end of the year. 5. Question. What is the purpose of crisis management? The purpose of crisis management is to prevent or reduce loss in a crisis situation. It's designed to effectively and efficiently managing the effects of a crisis and recovering from it. It also guides and assists law enforcers in the formulation of crisis management contingency plans and to address crisis situation. It sets concepts, policies, and general procedures of handling crisis situations. That's all for today's video, and thank you for listening.